Hello and welcome back, grade 2 students. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos and most importantly, you're staying safe at home and not giving your mothers any hard time. Today we're gonna continue with Unit 4, Earth's Surface, Lesson 1, Where is Water Found on Earth, Part 3. For today we're gonna cover the following points. Lesson 1, Where is Water Found on Earth? Liquid or solid section. We open our books to page 192. Guys, please, I need to remind you, I want you to follow carefully with me. You cross whatever Miss Yara crosses out and you write down whatever Miss Yara writes down and you underline whatever Miss Yara underlines. Are we ready? Let's start. Liquid or solid? Look at the pictures to explore how bodies of water can be liquid or solid. In the first picture we see a body of water that is liquid at 71 degrees Fahrenheit. In the second picture, we see a body of water that has parts of it that turned into ice, which is solid form of water, okay, at 26 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, let me tell you guys, in America, they use degrees Fahrenheit to measure the temperature. In Lebanon, we use degrees Celsius. That's why I want you to cross out 71 degrees Fahrenheit and instead we're gonna write the degree that is equivalent to 71 degrees Fahrenheit in degrees Celsius. Therefore, we cross out 71 degrees Fahrenheit and we write instead 21.6 degrees Celsius. Then, we move on to the second picture, solid at 26 degrees Fahrenheit. We cross 26 degrees Fahrenheit and we write the temperature that is equivalent to 26 degrees Fahrenheit in degrees Celsius that we use to measure the temperature in Lebanon, which is equal to minus 3.3 degrees Celsius. Clear? So take a minute, guys, to think. Which is warmer, 21.6 degrees Celsius or minus 3.3 degrees Celsius? Correct, of course it is 21.6 degrees Celsius because minus 3.3 degrees Celsius is really cold and it's freezing. It's below 0 degrees Celsius, which means it's really cold and some bodies of water will start to turn into the solid form of water, which is ice. Okay, let's read together to discover. All together, are we ready? Let's follow. In warm places, bodies of water are liquid. In cold places, ponds, rivers, and lakes may freeze if the temperature is low enough. Fresh water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Ocean water freezes at about 28 degrees Fahrenheit. An ocean will never freeze completely. It is too big and salty, and it moves too much. These features, remember features means characteristics, are patterns because they show what oceans have in common. Now we're gonna reread and I'm going to explain. Follow up carefully and again you underline what Miss Yara underlines and you cross what Miss Yara crosses out. Are we ready? Let's go. In warm places, bodies of water are liquid, so when the temperature is high, the bodies of water are liquid. In cold places, ponds, rivers, and lakes may freeze if the temperature is low enough. So, in cold places, when the temperature is low, and if it becomes really low enough, okay, the ponds, rivers, and lakes might freeze. How do we know at what temperature do the ponds, rivers, and lakes freeze? Let's check out and see. Fresh water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, as we said in Lebanon, we don't use degrees Fahrenheit. That's why I want you to cross 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Instead, we're gonna write the temperature that is equivalent to 32 degrees Fahrenheit in degrees Celsius, which is 0 degrees Celsius. So, fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. So what do we mean? Listen up. When the temperature drops to 0 degrees Celsius and even below, the fresh water in the ponds, rivers, and some lakes starts to freeze and change into ice. Clear? Let's check. What about the ocean water? Ocean water freezes at about 28 degrees Fahrenheit. As we said, we also cross 28 degrees Fahrenheit because it is not the unit of measurement used in Lebanon, and instead we write the temperature that is equivalent to 28 degrees Fahrenheit in degrees Celsius, that is minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. So ocean water freezes at about minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. Ocean water freezes at minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. What I want you to do, guys, is to cross out 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, right on top of it, 0 degrees Celsius. Then you move down over here, you cross 28 degrees Fahrenheit, and you write on top of it, minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. Now they're telling us that an ocean will never freeze completely, so the ocean freezes partially, part of it freezes and changes into ice. Why? Because they're telling us that the ocean will never freeze completely due to three reasons. Okay? What are they? 1, because the oceans are too big. 2, because the oceans have salty water and the salt does not allow the water to freeze completely. And 3, because it moves too much. And these characteristics are patterns because they show what all oceans have in common. Remember, a pattern is something that is repeated. So all oceans will never freeze completely. All oceans will never freeze completely. Why they will never freeze completely? Due to 3 reasons. What are they? 1, because oceans are too big. 2, because oceans have salty water and the salt does not allow the water to freeze completely. 3, because it moves too much. So ocean water will never freeze completely. Why? Because it is too big and salty and it moves too much. Too big and salty and it moves too much. That's why the ocean water will never freeze completely. Clear? And these are patterns among all the oceans. Let's review together. So, at what temperature does the fresh water freeze? Fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. 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 What about the ocean water? At what temperature does the ocean water freeze? Ocean water freezes at minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. 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 But does the ocean water freeze completely? No, an ocean will never freeze completely. An ocean will never freeze completely. Or all oceans will never freeze completely. All oceans will never freeze completely. Why they will never freeze completely? Due to 3 reasons. What are they? Because it is too big and salty and it moves too much. Too big and salty and it moves too much. That's why the ocean will never freeze completely. Part of it freezes. Why? As we said, it will never freeze completely because it is too big and salty, and the salty does not allow the water to freeze completely, and because it moves too much, so it will never freeze completely as well. These are patterns about the ocean, which means things that are repeated among all the oceans. Clear so far? Now do the math. You can use symbols to compare temperatures of a warm ocean and a cold ocean. Compare the numbers, write bigger than, less than, or equal to. So we have 71 degrees Fahrenheit, but as we said, we don't use degrees Fahrenheit in Lebanon. So we cross it out and we write instead 21.6 degrees Celsius, which is equal to 71 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we cross 26 degrees Fahrenheit and we write the equivalence of it in degrees Celsius, which is minus 3.3 degrees Celsius. Which one is bigger, 21.6 degrees Celsius or minus 3.3 degrees Celsius? Excellent! It is 21.6 degrees Celsius. Very proud of you. Let's continue. So let's review together. In warm places, what happens to the bodies of water? In warm places, bodies of water are liquid. In cold places, ponds, rivers, and lakes may freeze if the temperature is low enough, right? How do we know when do the water in the ponds, rivers, and some of the lakes start to freeze at what temperature? Let's review together. How do we know if it is low enough for the water to freeze? We start thinking and we remember, at what temperature does the fresh water freeze? Fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. Fresh water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. So when the temperature drops to 0 degrees Celsius and even below, the fresh water in the ponds, rivers, and some lakes will start to freeze. Okay, the water in these ponds, rivers, and the lakes that have fresh water will freeze and change into ice. Clear? Why do I say some lakes? Because not all lakes have fresh water. Now, what about the ocean water? At what temperature does the ocean water start to freeze partially, which means part of it starts to freeze? Ocean water freezes at minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. Ocean water freezes at minus 2.2 degrees Celsius again. Ocean water freezes at minus 2.2 degrees Celsius. So when the temperature drops to minus 2.2 degrees Celsius, what happens to the oceans? Parts of the ocean, okay, start to freeze. Not all of it. Some parts of the ocean will start to freeze and change into ice. Clear? Because the oceans will never freeze completely. Let's check out why. What are the patterns of oceans? What are the patterns of oceans? Let's go. An ocean will never freeze completely, so all oceans will never freeze completely. All oceans will never freeze completely. Why they will never freeze completely? Because it is too big and salty and it moves too much. Too big and salty and it moves too much. We keep in mind that the salt does not allow the water to freeze completely. One more time. What are the patterns of ocean? An ocean will never freeze completely, or all oceans will never freeze completely. All oceans will never freeze completely. Why they will never freeze completely? Because all oceans are too big and salty and they move too much, or it moves too much. Clear? So far so good? So, why all oceans will never freeze completely? Because an ocean is too big and salty and it moves too much. Too big and salty and it moves too much. So it won't be able to freeze completely. Clear? Now, in the upcoming video, we watch a video about the oceans and why they won't freeze. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks a bunch.